Well, hello and welcome back to Flint Hills Briar. I'm Gareth. Pardon the wind noise. Pardon any wheezing you might hear in my breathing. It's pretty darn cold. It's about 2 degrees Fahrenheit right now, and it's windy. You know, actually, I was going to walk around, warm up a little bit while I try to enjoy a pipe, but I think I might just go back to my campsite because it's protected by the wind more so than about any other spot out here. So I'll be right back. So yeah, forget going out for a little walk, little lunch with the pipe. I'm having some Amphora Original in my Missouri Meerschaum maple hardwood, or birch hardwood varnished to look like maple, wherever they are. Not a bad cheap pipe though, that's for sure. But I'm not coming to you from the Flint Hills of Kansas, as was the plan. I was going to go out and try to camp, take advantage of this ridiculously cold weather to camp at my usual my favorite winter camping area, because it has pretty good access to a state highway. It's just right off a state highway. And this side I usually camp in is pretty sheltered from the wind. I was hoping the snow wouldn't be too deep, but it was. And before I left the highway, parked my truck, got out, walked a ways in, determined that I shouldn't have too much trouble. And the part I walked, I did make it through that. Although after having driven it, I was a little apprehensive about being able to get out one little section of it. But I proceeded to get my truck stuck in the snow, of course. Further on in, I walked over to the place I wanted to camp at, and there was no way I was going to be, even if my truck hadn't gotten stuck, I wouldn't even have tried to get back there. And it wasn't even a question of being able to load my stuff up in well, I didn't have a sled to load stuff in. Well, I'd almost bought one about a week ago. But I couldn't even, there wasn't even a place I could park my truck. Even if I wasn't stuck, there wasn't a place I could park my truck where I could load stuff up and carry it in. There just wasn't any cleared spot to park other than the side of the highway. And I wasn't doing that. So anyway, I started shoveling snow. I called my wife, let her know that I made it safely there, but I was stuck in the snow. And she asked if, I'd be okay spending the night. And I said, yeah. So that wasn't a problem. I wasn't in any sort of bodily danger because I had tons of winter camping equipment and food for a few days. So even if I had to hunker down there, it wouldn't have been a problem. It was just, it's not good when your truck's stuck in the snow and you can't get out. So I shoveled and shoveled and shoveled. Anyway, long story short, I did a lot of shoveling. Kept pretty warm doing that. Got a little sweaty too, which wasn't good when you stop. But at least by the time I stopped, I was in my truck. Managed to get my truck turned around. That was the first challenge. Got it moving, got it turned around, and I went for it. Out the way I came in. I said some prayers first. Said some prayers to St. Bernard. This isn't actually the St. Bernard that the famous St. Bernard is St. Bernard of Clairvaux. He's the doctor of the church. He's the one that, when people talk about St. Bernard, they're probably talking about him. St. Bernard of Menthon, I think that's how you say it, is the St. Bernard dog saint. I'm not sure when he lived, but I believe he founded the monastery, the abbey, whatever, on St. Bernard Pass in France. I'm not sure if the pass goes between France and Italy or what, but anyway, I think he established that monastery. And over the years, the monks would help travelers that were coming through when they would get lost in the bad weather and such. And it's my understanding they did originate that dog breed that's named after St. Bernard. Although apparently the original breed varies a little bit from what it is now. Like their fur used to be a bit shorter, which would keep snow and stuff from freezing to their fur and balling up and that sort of thing. But anyway, I said some prayers to St. Bernard. And I got out. I didn't think I was going to. There was especially two spots along the way where I started sliding off the road a little bit. One time I really thought I was going to go off the edge of it would be a gravel road underneath the snow. I was sliding toward the edge, and I can't remember if in that spot it goes down a few inches. It's not like a deep ditch or anything, but if I went down a few inches, I wasn't going to be able to get out. Either that or maybe it just, was like flat to the slope. There's a slope next to it. Anyway, I was sliding towards that, and I thought I was stuck and done for, but I wasn't. I got out that spot. I kept going. There was another dodgy spot where my front wheel started sliding a bit too. I got past that. I got through that sketchy, slightly uphill, deeper section in the snow, got on the highway, and I honestly think it was nothing short of probably in part miraculous, and I'm not using that word lightly, that I got out. I wouldn't have been in bodily peril if I hadn't gotten out, but I really wanted to get my truck out, and I did. And I didn't think I was going to make it. But anyway, I got on the road, called my wife. I was so, excited that it took me a while to even be able to hit the right button on my phone to get it to call her. But I thought my trip was scrapped at that point in time because there's no way I was going to be able to camp there. A little background on this weekend is that the way this whole El Nino thing was going, I wasn't sure I was going to ever be able to get out and do any real winter camping where it actually got cold this year. Never really happened last year either, so it's been a good 2 years without all that cold camping. But anyway, I don't know what happened, but we got this whole mass of like Arctic air that came down the middle of the country. And this weekend, I'm not on call, so I could go camping. It did snow earlier in the week, and it snowed yesterday, the day I was going to come out camping. Kept checking the weather forecast that hopefully it didn't get too much snow so I could get out and be able to get home also that it doesn't snow I'm out here. And it's supposed to get down tonight, Saturday night. It's supposed to get down to about -14 or -15 below zero. And it's been like 6 or 7 years, I think, since I've been out camping in anything that cold. A few years back, I went out and it was like, I think my thermometer said it was 13 below, but it may have been more like 10 below or something. I don't know, but this is going to be at least that cold and probably colder. And yes, I'm crazy. I actually like going out in weather like this, or, I enjoy the challenge. Some aspects of it aren't a lot of fun, but dealing with it successfully and just being warm and well fed and cozy at night, there's a fun in being able to do that, I guess, to pull that off. I don't want to beleaguer or expound too much of my love for winter camping. Maybe I'll do that some other time, but anyway, I'm heading down the road, talk to my wife. I think my weekend's trash, and I was pretty disappointed that I wasn't going to be able to take advantage of this weather to camp out in it. But we were trying to think of other places I might be able to go and camp. I needed some place that was sheltered from the wind, because it's supposed to be, there's a wind chill advisor until like next Tuesday, and it started like Friday evening or something, or Friday afternoon. So obviously it's very cold and it's windy, and it's not really letting up much. And the place, wherever I would go, I'd have to be able to drive there, have basically quite clear roads, have a place to park, that's, I wouldn't be worried about getting stuck in, that sort of thing. I checked out a place near below the Tuttle Creek Dam, the Tuttle Creek Reservoir, and the place was open. It was accessible. I wouldn't have worried about getting out. The problem with that was it was very windy in there. There's trees, but they're like big, old cottonwood trees, and they don't provide much of a windbreak. And I knew I'd just be miserable if I tried camping there. So that was out. So I decided to try to come up to this place, which is north of Salina, where I live. I'm at the Bennington, well, we refer to it as the Bennington State Lake. It's near Bennington, Kansas, but it's actually the Ottawa County State Lake. So I figured before I gave up and went home, I'd check things out up here. And sure enough, the roads are accessible enough. I knew one side of the place, number one, the roads probably wouldn't be good enough. And number two, that gets hit with the wind really badly from the north. I didn't even consider that side, but I just came over here, and I remember this spot that I'd spent a bit of time at once upon a time, a couple of years ago or so. And I figured I'd check this out, and sure enough, it fit the bill. Can get in and out. The spots is sheltered with the trees, blocking or filtering the wind from the north and northwest, as you're going to find out here. So anyway, the weekend is, this was definitely plan B, but I'll take it. Guess I have a more interesting story to tell than if everything had gone according to plan. But I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to sit out here and enjoy a pipe as cold as it is, but at least in my campsite here, it's sheltered enough from the wind. So there you go. At 2 degrees above 0 Fahrenheit, I guess you can sit out and have a pipe and actually enjoy it. But tonight I got some of the, sorry, I should probably talk more clearly. I got some of the meal cold weather rations. It's basically the cold weather MREs, which instead of ready to eat, like pouches, like beef stew or whatever, you just tear open and eat. Maybe heat up first, but eat. The meal cold weathers have freeze dried stuff, Mountain House meals. They're made by, they even say Mountain House on them, made by Oregon Freeze Dry. So there's nothing to freeze in them. Just add hot water, and eat them. I got a few of those just kind of for the hell of it. Got a whole full 12 meal case set. So I have one of those tonight. I think I'm having spicy, like Oriental spicy chicken or something like that. I don't know if I want to have a campfire or not. I have wood in the back of my truck, although it's kind of providing weight for my truck to give me traction. This spot doesn't have a campfire ring, which probably wouldn't be the end of the world if I just built the fire on the ground. And I mean, it's not going to catch anything on fire. I know that with all the snow around. But I don't know if I want to deal with it. I don't know if I want to sit by a fire in the cold tonight. And as insulated as I am, the fire's not going to warm me up that much anyway. So I might just skip it. I have a lantern for, cheery nocturnal glow. But I guess I'll draw this video to a close. Don't need to ramble on. Yeah, it should be fun tonight. If we hit 14 or 15 below. I have my sleeping bag. Here's a woodpecker over on the tree over there. I wouldn't even bother to try to show it on the camera because it wouldn't look like anything worth seeing. Just pecking away at the bark looking for something to eat. But my sleeping bag is like a Canadian Army down bag, and it's like a 4-part thing. It has essentially like 2 down sleeping bags, one inside the other. There's a flannel liner inside there, and then it has this separate hood that goes over your head. And it's good to like 20 below 0. So yeah, slept warm last night. I think it got down around about 0 last night. So last night was warmer than what it's going to be tonight. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. If you see this, if this thing gets uploaded, you know that I didn't freeze to death. So, oh yeah, it reminds me. This is something to look forward to, or not. There is a little story that a guy named Calvin Rutstrom, he wrote a lot of books about outdoor stuff up north. There's a little story that I was already thinking of sharing, of reading on a video, and now I really have to do it because it pertains to what happened to me yesterday in a certain way. So there'll be a Calvin Rutstrom reading coming up here at some point in time. But anyway, Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Stay warm wherever you're at. Whenever I get this thing posted, hopefully in the not too distant future. I'm Gareth with Flint Hills Briar. I'll see you next time.